So here's where I'm going to start today. This is a wide progression here. I am teaching the principles. So rather than us, let's say, spending an hour on all the principles, I have going to every location. I've been speaking on each one individually. And so I have covered work with purpose, which is the first one, embrace the plan, love the dream, accept change, and today you are the lucky ones who get work hard. Aren't you excited about that? Oh yeah. Now I'm just gonna warn you. I like to make my classes fun. I like to have a good time. But we're gonna talk about work today, man. Work. So there's gonna be some things that might rub you. There's gonna be some things that might make you feel like, oh, I don't like that. But that's work. Because work is work. So we want to talk about work hard. So if I tell you, I want to show you how to master the fifth principle. So to master the fifth principle, I want to deep dive into work. We started with principle 1, which was why. That's purpose. Purpose is the why behind all things. Principle 2 is the plan, which is the what. Principle 3 is love. It's the fuel behind our plan and our purpose. Number 4 is change, which is the action step that you need to take to actually put the first 3 into movement. And number 5 is the actual action that will take place to do all of that. Meaning that once we know we got to change, once we know we have a purpose, we have a plan, and we know that we love what we're going to do, now it's time to do it. Now it's time to get this thing going. Now, I realize that the realization of work, I thought maybe an easy example is the Bible. How many of you own a Bible? Yeah, yep, that's still good. I'm glad. Some of y'all need it, just saying. Now, if you've ever in your life, if you think back to the first time someone asked you or mentioned to you or casually brought up the thought of, what if you read it from cover to cover? What if you actually decided to read that whole thing? I'm willing to bet, if you're an honest person, you looked at that book and thought, man, that's a lot of work. Is it not? Have you seen them pages? Have you seen they're basically see-through. They're as thin as they can get. And I would say, just like feathers, I would say that a bunch of those pages wouldn't land. But you feel how heavy that book is? And that's all from that tissue paper? You realize that book is heavier than the giant things of toilet paper we buy at Sam's? That's how many of those are in there? It's a work, man. It is work. I've even felt like, I can be honest with you. I can be honest right now. Every time I open my Bible and I see the words, I see the 12 columns, I just instantly think, ooh, this is work. This is going to be tough. There's a lot here. Maybe I'll just do a verse because this looks like a lot of work. See, there is work in things. See, I will even do this. I don't know if you've done this before, but I will make the excuse of, I'll just read it on the app. So then I don't have to hold that heavy thing. So I'll pull out the app. I don't have to see all the pages. I don't have to do it. But even as I do that and I start to scroll, it's a lot of scrolling. My thumb's getting tired. Why? Because all of us naturally are averted to work. We all just have this dream that we're not going to work. I kind of feel like maybe it's because we spend all of our childhood not working. We spend a lot of years getting used to not working. And then we're told at a certain point, get out of the house, all you do is that now. And that seems, well, wait, I liked cartoons. Well, wait, I liked playing. Well, wait, I liked recess. How many of you have kids? How many of you kids would say, if you asked them their favorite subject, they'd say, my favorite subject is recess. It's because we just have an aversion to work. We have an aversion to it. We don't want to do it. So I thought the best way to talk about work today was, rather than just talking about the Bible, I'm going to read it. Okay? I'm going to read it. We're going to start at Genesis 1. Oh yeah, some of you are like, oh no. Oh no. Oh, here comes that work. Yeah, we're going to read the Bible today, okay? This is the part of the Bible that everybody, whether you're most religious, you can agree this is honorable. This is the first page. This is inarguable. Genesis 1, verse 1. You ready? Are you ready? You will help me today. You are going to interact, or I will turn this car around. Do we understand? Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And God made the expanse and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were, I think I did that one twice. And the second day, God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear," and it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit, trees bearing fruit in which there is seed, each according to its kind on the earth." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetations, plants yielding according to their own goods. I think I did that again. It's so little even here. And there was evening, and there was morning the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights. Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let there be light in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the fourth day. Yeah, we ain't done. And God said, "Let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the heavens." So God created the great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, in which the waters swarm according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on earth." And there was evening, and there was morning the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, and creeping things, and beasts of the earth according to their kinds." And it was so. And God made the beast on the ground according to its kind, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on earth." And God said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning the sixth day. Chapter 2, verses 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all his that he had done in creation. I start with that for one simple reason. I think that there's a reason that the Bible started with work. God did not start with leisure. He didn't start with the Sabbath. He ended with it. I think right now, one of our biggest troubles in our day and age is we're all just figuring out how I can retire at 22. That seems to be the goal, to not work. And yet I have I have to just take note the fact that when Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 starts with, I am God and here is the work I did. I'm starting with work. I'm going to show you how much I work. Because I don't know if have you guys seen like Bruce Almighty? Some of those movies? Evan Almighty? Well, what about those? You see, like, it's not like God gets a day off. You think of all the prayers he's getting right now? You think of all the requests? He's at work, is he not? See, he's at work and we're trying to say, well, I don't want to work. Oh, tough. Tough, man. You got to work. You were created for it. You were created to work. See, work isn't optional. He didn't say, up from the dust, man, go enjoy yourself. He didn't say, fish, just play in the water. Birds, just soar in the sky. He didn't just say, oh, I just created you, now just go have a vacation. The first thing he said, be fruitful and multiply. And then he said to man, he said, be fruitful, multiply, and go out and rule over everything. The first thing he said to each thing he created was, here's the work I created for you. It started with work. Wasn't vacation. Wasn't time off. It wasn't, oh, I don't want to do anything. He gave us work from the moment we were created because we were created to work. If God isn't too good for work, you can't be either. I promise you God's purpose right now isn't discovering how many times I get to not do anything. I promise you God's not worried about how many days off he's going to get. In fact, I think for most of us, especially when you go through hard times, you're praying and hoping he doesn't take a Sabbath. You want him at work at all times. See, work isn't optional. This is why, and we say this and we know this when you own a business, if you're going to hire someone and you go through the interview process, probably the worst thing any person can do is ask about the days off in the interview. How many weeks of vacation do I get? I mean a lot right now because you're not getting hired. I mean, all of them. You get all of them. Because this is... It's called work, man. It's not optional. See, the reason, and I gotta make sure you see why we did it even this way. God was bold enough to start with work. There's a reason in our principles we didn't start with work because we knew that if we started with work as the first principle, then 90% of people would be like, no, I don't want to do this. We had to get you back on purpose first. We had to get you back on plan. We had to get you to love it. We had to get you to realize you needed to change. We had to realize that you needed to make some different actions. But now we got to talk about it's going to take work. Results require work. Success is impossible without work. Even when you go online and you hear these idiots say, that are influencers, say, oh, I don't work at all. Liar. If you could see their body and all the bruises they have from running into stuff because they won't get their head out of their phone. They're at work all the time. We're all at work. Work is here. When you try to avoid work, you're only going to make life harder for you. We have to embrace work. Now, I want to skip a little more forward in the Bible to go to my man Jonah. Who knows who Jonah is? Remember from Bible school? Jonah is one of my favorite stories. Jonah, in case you don't know it, that's okay. I'm a sinner too. Jonah lived in Israel in the town of Gath-Hepher, which is near Joppa. God called, he gave Jonah the purpose and the mission to go to a town called Nineveh to save the people there, to redeem and to save and to make it new. He called him to go to Nineveh, but Jonah was like, I don't want to do that. I like Tarshish. It's on the water. Beautiful little beach town. I want to go to Tarshish. I'm not interested in Nineveh. And so even though God called him there, he decided, I'm going to board a boat. I'm going to go to Tarshish. Then all of a sudden the sea swelled. Everything got kind of rough. The boat started to almost feel like it's going to go over. He realized, It's not rough for anybody else, it's just for us. God doesn't want this. I'm going to jump overboard. And God sent a whale, swallowed him. He spent 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a whale before he was spit out back towards the shore near the road to Nineveh. Now, when you read it in the Bible, it's a very easy way to look over one small detail. There's one small detail to me is very important that they don't clarify, so I'm going to clarify it so you see it. God said, go to Nineveh. He said, I want Tarshish. God said, you're called to do this, is your purpose over here. He said, no, I like Tarshish better. Now, here's the thing that the Bible doesn't show you and doesn't say unless you look it up. Nineveh is 500 miles away. Tarshish is 2,500 miles away. Tarshish is literally 5 times the distance that he would have had to go if he just went where God called him to go. Now, why is this important to me? Because Jonah was willing to work harder to go against his purpose than he had to work if he'd just done his purpose. Do you realize how hard some of us work to avoid what we should be doing? Do you realize it's like when you're going, it's like lying. Anybody here been a teenager before? Ever lied to your parents? And you start to realize if you just told them, it would have been a whole lot easier than that story you made up and tried to keep with. A lot of us spend a whole lot more time just trying to avoid what we're supposed to do than the work we would have had to done if we'd just done what we were supposed to in the first place. Because bear in mind, had he made it to Tarshish, if he'd eventually come to the decision that, you know what, I need to go after my purpose, he's got to go 3,000 miles now. See, I think a lot of times we convince ourselves that we're avoiding work, but we don't realize how much work we're creating. I've done this before. Maybe there's some of you men that can be. I've been on the interstate. I've been going to a place and I got the navigation going. I got Waze running. And everything comes to a standstill and there's an exit. And I get that little thought in my head that says, you can find a shortcut. And so I tell my wife, I'm going to ignore this AI computer thing that can monitor every road at one time, and I'm going to say, you don't know because I've lived here for 20 years, so I will find a shortcut. And I can tell you of every time I've ever tried to find a shortcut, I found a much longer way to get there. I did not find a shortcut. And I felt like I was moving. That's the kind of lie we talk. Well, we're moving the wrong way, but we're moving. Stubbornness to avoid work creates more work than initially is required. And what that really ends up meaning for all of us is that avoiding work means choosing poor results. That's what happens when we avoid work. Our results suffer from it. So you want new patients? It's going to take work. Who here wants new patients? Every hand better go up because you can't survive without them. It's going to take work. But what do? When we say we need new patients, do we think about the things that cause work or do we think about the things that don't cause work? The first thought every doctor's mind, like we say new patients, first thought is, what about Facebook? What about Google? Why does that come up? Because it requires no work. And I think we're at the time, enough time has passed. Can we all admit that Facebook patients, even if they come in, they're not good patients? They don't ever really stay. Like, we're like, oh, I got 7 from that. And then you got 7 that came once. You want better treatment plan results? Means you're going to have to work. You got to work on your repetition. You got to work on what Doug called at the last conference the secret sauce. But you know, a lot of doctors say, well, I don't want to work. Let me switch to an upfront care plan. Let me just make the patient pay up front and just see if they want to come back. Requires no work. Patients dropping out of care, work is realizing you are going to have to call them. If they don't answer, call them. Sending automated texts and doing that only isn't work. And it isn't going to do it. Am I going to act like I don't like texts? Yes, I love texting. I love getting texts. Why do I love them? They're very easy to ignore. They're very easy to be like, I missed that one. Dang it. One better, collections. Work is realizing you're going to have to actually hound these insurance companies. Let's just be honest. The insurance companies are the only legal crook in the world. Besides the government, obviously. They're a legal crook. Their job is to keep your money unless you hound them enough. That's what it is. And if you call, anybody who's ever worked with a crook or worked with someone who is not a good person, you know that if you just choose to say, I'll just let them do the right thing, they won't. Just say, well, I called yesterday, and they said it'd be a little while. No, it's your money. They're holding it hostage. Do we get that? They're holding it hostage. You need to be like taken. I will find you. You got to be Liam Neeson, man. You got to hunt that money down. It's yours. And if you don't try to work for it, they will keep it. Make sense? Avoiding work means poor results. So like if I look at Jonah work questions, I look at questions like Jonah, of what Jonah did. Let me ask you these questions. What if you put as much work into learning the scripts as you do trying to find your way around the scripts? Ooh. What if you put as much work into booking screenings as you do avoiding screenings? It's getting quiet in here. Did you feel how quiet? How like nobody was breathing on that one. Owning docs. What if you put as much work into hiring practice reps as you do avoiding them? And I mean the major one, the simple one, the easy one. What if you put as much work into learning the integrity system as you can avoiding the integrity system? I told you this isn't meant to be comfortable. This class can't be comfortable. Why? Because I'm talking about work. It takes work to learn the system. It takes work to hire the right person. It takes work to go out and do a screening. It takes work to learn the scripts. Let me ask you this. You guys paid good money to come here today. You guys planned this. You somehow got all here. You're going to spend money on food. How would you feel if I just came here today and just said, I'm just going to wing it? I'm not going to prepare anything. I'm just going to get up there and talk. Are you going to feel like this is going to go good? No, it's not going to go good. I'm going to train wreck this sucker if that's what we do. There's a reason I spend months on these things. There's a reason, and now, made it so much harder. We do 6. So we did 6 brand new ones, which I had to create a new speech every 10 seconds, it felt like. So I've got kind of 3 speeches in my head right now I'm trying to fight with. To make sure I don't talk about think successful, which is next one we go to. See, all of this, there's work in it. See, what avoiding work really means, what it really means is, I'm going to choose laziness. John Steinbeck said this, we now face the danger which in the past has been the most destructive to the humans. Success, plenty, comfort, and ever-increasing leisure. No dynamic people has ever survived these dangers. This is really it. Here's the reason I think this is so important to get, and if you were like, I've heard that before, it's in Epcot. It's at the end of the American Adventure. It's a really neat little quote they use in the show. Here's what you got to get. Everybody right now, I remember a time pre-pandemic, when a lot of you owning doctors were complaining about the work ethics of millennials. Do we remember this? Remember when we say, they don't want to work. They don't want to do nothing. Now here's the problem. Right now, rather than teaching them to work, we're starting to listen to them and want to be like them. I'm seeing more and more people trying to just not work than inspiring others to work harder. And that's a problem, because that's where leisure steps into play. See, we've been telling ourselves, there's work smarter, not harder. Somehow we changed the definition to work smarter, not harder meant don't work. When in reality, work smarter, not harder just means be more efficient when you work. It's not saying don't work. That's why the word is at the first. It's the first part of the sentence. The thing builds on it. Work smarter, not harder. It still says to work. It's not saying we can get around the working. See, when chiropractors make the goal to not work, your outcome results in hurting people. When we make the goal to not work, we end up hurting people. You say, how can you say that? You know it's true. Look at other avenues in your life. Do you ever see, because let's just be honest, I don't want you to, no, don't point any fingers. Let's not name any names. But have you ever seen a parent who got lazy and stopped working? Have you ever seen a relationship end where one person works really hard and the other one doesn't? And when that other parent doesn't work very hard, what do we say? We say, man, I feel really sorry for the kids. I feel bad for the kids. Why? Because when you get lazy, it hurts people. There's no way around it. Laziness hurts. Laziness teaches the wrong thing. The problem with laziness is it sells what everybody wants, but the only way to get it is to give up the worst of us. It's to hurt others. Let me give you a fun little example. There's a new company out that's kind of moving into chiropractic, started by a chiropractor. They took over Parker, they're a big sponsor at Parker Vegas. Another, just FCA 2 weeks ago, huge sponsor at FCA Vegas. They're called Blueprint to Practice Automation. Anybody heard of this company? Okay, let me talk about Blueprint for a second. They're a company like us, they're practice management. And their big headline is this: new 20-hour week, 7-figure your automated practice model. Now let's be real people for a minute. 7 figures, how much is that? That's a lot, right? We're talking, that's millions. 7 figures, 20 hours a week. Does that sound awful? Be honest, does that sound awful? Does that sound like a good thing? Oh yeah, that sounds like a great thing. So, who doesn't want to make $1 million and work less than 20? That's part-time, baby. That's the American dream. That's what we want. I don't want to work, I want to be at home. But here's the thing. To do that means we got to do what? We got to hurt people. Now, I know you would say, Ryan, they're not setting out to hurt people. Oh, no. Give it just a second. Here's how they get it down to 20-hour work weeks. If you sign up and you do this, here's what you do. You get new patients. You bring them in. You show them your technique. They provide you with an adjusting technique, different from your own. If you want to do your own, you can, but they have a new one that's much better. So you can use their technique, you can use their decompression, and what they will do is you come into the doctor's office as a patient, the doctor treats you, and then the doctor teaches you how to use the equipment and treat yourself. And you give yourself adjustments, and then you order and mail the adjusting technique and equipment to the patient's house so they can treat themselves and not come back.
This is serious?
Oh, let's look at the website. With our national distribution drop ship model, you can drop ship equipment directly to the patient for their home care. We use FDA-cleared and evidence-based proprietary protocols backed by white paper studies to allow patients to treat themselves 5 to 7 days a week to ensure less visits in the office, better clinical results, while empowering the patient long-term to their condition. You'll realize how bad this is, right? You'll realize this is negating your degree. This is saying your degree matters very little, because here's what we can just treat people, we can just teach them to treat themselves. They will teach you how to learn at home, how to treat yourself for chiropractic, how to treat yourself for decompression, neuropathy, dieting, everything. Rehab, the works. You don't have to work. And the testimonials are, I only come in 1 day a week. Yeah, for the next couple months until you run out of everything. This is going to hurt people. This is going to be, you realize how many patients are going to do this and think this is what chiropractic care is? That doesn't just hurt the patients, that hurts us. That hurts the profession. That hurts every doctor that came before. That hurts everybody who put their lives into this profession. Well, let's just let them do it. What? See, here's the thing that just gives it. This is when you work for laziness and not for purpose. When you stay on purpose, you don't have any reason to think that, oh, let's just send them home with the equipment. Let me just order them a decompression table. That's a great idea. They've already got a Peloton. I'm telling you, man, when we choose laziness, it's the bad decision. Can we all right now, because I feel dirty just reading that nonsense. Can we choose work? Can you choose work? Raise your hand if you're going to choose work. Oh my word. Wait. Some of you were like, oh, like raising your arm was too much work all of a sudden. Everybody up, stand up. We're not doing that. Stand up. If you can't raise your arm, I'm going to make you stand. Everybody here can stand. You got here. There's no wheelbarrows outside that dropped you off. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to choose work. And to choose work, you got to say, I'm going to work. Can you say it? Repeat after me. I'm going to work. I'm going to work. I'm going to work. I'm going to work. Go around, high five as many people as you can and tell them, I'm going to work. Now don't get lazy and start talking. Get back to your seat. We got to go to work. I need you to choose working. I need you to choose it. Why? Because the honest truth is everybody wants you to be it anyway. Anybody who owns a business knows the one thing we're all looking for is a hard worker. I want someone who's going to work. See, you either work or you get labeled as lazy. You realize that, right? You either work or you get labeled as lazy. Oh, Lauren, that's harsh. No, it's not. You've been labeling people as lazy your whole life. Do you remember school projects? Do you remember Who was the one kid in here that did all the work? Anybody been that person? I'm raising my hand as example. I was not. I was definitely the snoozer. I was real good at, you are so good at this. You are so smart. I think you're amazing. And they do the work. Did I get labeled as lazy? Yes. Yes. Because when you do all the work and someone else just stands there for the credit, you even walk out and you say, I don't want to do group project again because I don't want to work with him because he's lazy. He's lazy. Laziness is just the way it goes. Laziness is what we have to do. We are lazy if we don't do it. If you don't want to do it, you are lazy. And we do it in our head. We may not say it aloud. When you have a staff that says, I don't want to come in, your first thought is, they are so lazy. When the associate says, yeah, I'm really tired one day, you are so lazy. We think lazy. See, right now, I could even point to it. We have offices in the same city. We have offices where there are practices, where there are integrity doctors within 10 minutes of each other. And one will be thriving and one will be dying. And the one dying is like, oh, there's just no good people in this town. And the other one's doing 50 new patients a month. There's a difference between work and lazy. I remember one time we had a, this was recent, when I say one time, this was literally 2 months ago. There was an integrity doctor that we had. I'm not going to name names, obviously. But they were, they'd send me this email of like, you guys, it's kind of one of those you guys suck kind of emails. And it was this whole like, I'm paying for this, and this is ridiculous, and it doesn't work, and no. And I said, okay, let's do a call. Let's do a call. I want to go over, because in your phone line it says, I see you talk to your coach, I see what they said, I see you haven't done this, but I'd like to set up a call for you. How does Friday work? So Friday doesn't work. Too busy. Solitaire, what is it? Because the numbers aren't there. I said, how about Monday? Monday doesn't work either, I'm busy. I was like, you tell me. And she's like, well, I'm going on vacation next week. Averaging 3 new patients a month. And they're like, I'm busy. You ain't busy, you lazy. You're lazy. I remember telling it one of my first, there was another one like that. It was a husband and wife team. This was back when I was kind of first starting the company. I got put in these things that we used to do called progress calls. And progress calls where I'd call in and I'd add an extra coaching call and I would call people and just see how they're doing. And I had this doctor who told me, like, they aren't getting patients. They need help. They need something right now. And I said, okay, I'll start helping you with coaching. Let me book a call. And I list off the times that I had available. He said, no, that won't work for me. I need it to be 6 a.m. I said, 6 a.m.? Why 6 a.m.? Like, I'm fully booked. I said, no, you're not. That's the reason we're booking these calls. You have plenty of time. No, I'm busy during the day. What's happening? We choose lazy. See, purpose work means understanding that your job is the task that we are all pumping out energy to support. The office loses without work. We can't reach our purpose without the work. See, and then when it comes to, when I talk about the accountability, I want to make sure, because this is one of those classes where I'm not just aiming this at staff and I'm not just aiming this at doctors. This is everybody. This is also not an exercise of judgment. I realize when you think in your head that we're judging each other. This isn't about judging each other. If we're all working hard, there's no time to judge each other. Well, I'm going to say it again. If we're hard at work, there's no time to judge each other. I have learned one very simple rule. If you got a lot of office drama, nobody's really working. Just pointing it out. If you got time for drama, They're not working. Well, you don't know about what Sarah did. Sarah, it's just upsetting to me. No, work. Work. I'm not paying you to judge Sarah. I'm paying you to treat Marley. We can't judge. Why? Because we're just natural judgment people. This is why I love the fact that we kind of have an Olympic theme here. If you think back to when you watched the Olympics, do you watch the Olympics like you're impressed, or do you watch it like you're a judge? You're a judge. Let's be honest. You couldn't even get on that pommel horse. And you're like, oh, see that? Quarter step back, total deduction. Total. They are terrible. They took a step. Why did she get up in the morning? We are so judgmental. See, that's why, like, if I look at, like, you see in the news lately, there was that track and field where that one country put that regular person up there, and they ran and, finished, like, I don't know, an hour later. And, like, everyone's up in arms. How did this happen? How did this happen? My thought was, I'm thrilled it happened. Why can't we let regular people do all these things so I can see how hard it is? Because, see, I watch them run and think, I could do that. Oh, when I was in high school. Remember that? And we'd say, when I was in high school. Knock it off. No, never. Not unless you strapped your car to your back. There isn't any way you're ever going to be that fast. But you see someone who gets in line and they start running, and you see everyone leave them behind thinking, whew, this looks a lot harder than I thought it was. When I watch the Summer Olympics, I see the shot put thing. I could throw a ball. What are we talking about here? But I'm willing to bet if they videoed me doing it, I'd have a little more respect for this thing. Work only works if we're not judging. Because I'll tell you this is why I don't want you working, that's why I don't want you judging, is because of this. There is a judge. We already got a judge. They're called the patient. They're judging every moment of every visit. They're judging from the moment they walk in, from the moment they walk out. Some of you lose wellness patients. You think, they just got tired of it. They just forgot. No, sir. I'm betting something happened that last visit. I'm betting they saw something, heard something. They're judging you. They're judging you at all times. Because we do it everywhere. Just put yourself in their shoes. Walk into any other type of health care and realize you're judging all the time. You're judging the dentist every second. You're judging the walk-in clinic every second. You ever been to the emergency room and sat there 4 hours? Each 30 minutes that goes by, you're like, this is ridiculous. There's nobody else here. You're judging. Let them be the judge. They will be your biggest critic, whether you like it or not anyway. See, the success of this office depends on the quality of service patients receive from all team members. Why does the work matter? Because you're only as strong as your weakest procedure. Only as strong as your weakest procedure. But Ryan, the goal is to be successful so that I don't have to work anymore. That's a lie. That's a lie. Let me just fill you in on something. Work never stops. Don't believe me? Look around. When people retire, they say they're going to not do anything else, but what do they end up doing? They work. You say, no, they don't. No. Oh, yeah. Do you not have an HOA? These people who quit their jobs but then join the HOA to make everyone in the neighborhood's life miserable? To judge every single thing? To critique every house? They work on hobbies, church functions, church leadership, volunteering, neighborhood watch. Oh, they work, man. They go to work. What about, let's say you get injured and you go to the hospital. You get injured. Does the doctor just say, you know what, you should just lay here for the next week? That'll do it. Or did they tell you to get to work? You need to get up, you need to get around, you need to eat this, I need you to stretch, I need you to start working. The goal is to get you out of here, the goal is to get you out. I need you to get up on your feet and I need you to start moving. It's going to take work. Remember, God said it. You were created for it. You were created to work. You weren't created to enjoy the Sabbath every day. I'm going to kind of end it on this. Doctor, this is where I really see it. This is where I see it as what you're supposed to be, where your real role is. Your job and your goal is to inspire work. Your job isn't to inspire vacations. You should inspire it. My father, who just finished, is 68 years old. He runs a very successful company, as you can see. He doesn't have any reason. He lives on an island. He had to leave that island to come to Columbus. Now, I'm not going to dog Columbus, but I think if every one of us had an option between Columbus and an island, if you're choosing Columbus, I don't know how to help you. You may need maybe therapy. There might be some therapy built. I don't know what it's going to be. But he left it here. Why? Because he's on purpose. The work doesn't stop. The purpose is still there. It's never ending. See, Dad comes to every conference. He mingles before the events. He stops you in the hallway. He leads our staff meetings. See, he's showing up. And I'll hear doctors on the phone like, I'm just tired of doing this. What? I've heard 30-year-olds say I'm burnt out. What are you talking? Burnt out of what? Hemp? I don't know. I don't know what we burn out of. See, your team should be inspired to work hard like you do, Doc. I want them to see you and emulate you. I want them to be a mirror of you. I want them to see you and think, that's how hard I should work. That's what I should do. I don't want them to see you and think, wow, he gets 6 weeks of vacations. How do I get that? Now, am I telling you to work 24/7? No. Because I can tell you this even about Dad. He works very hard, but he also relaxes pretty hard too. I like the look of his life. But that's the difference between choosing laziness over choosing purpose. He's still on purpose. See, your team should be inspired to maintain the same level of service that you give your patients. And staff, it's the same for you. So, I'm right there at the time. So here's what I'm going to say to you. Can we choose work? Yes. Do you understand that work is required? Thank you, 4 of you. Do you understand that work is required? Yes. Do you understand that you were created to work? Yes. Do you understand that the only way we heal people and not hurt people is we have to go to work? Yes. That's it. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We're going to be back with Shannon Miller. Don't miss it. Come right back, 10 minutes.